Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry for a very long 2 minutes. Apologize for that. I'm aware. I know. Apologies. Okay. Tomorrow, President Biden and the First Lady will travel to Fort Myers, Florida, to reaffirm his commitment to supporting the people of Florida as they recover and rebuild from the devastating storm. While there, the president will meet with small business owners and local residents impacted by Hurricane Ian and thank the federal, state, and local officials working around the clock to provide life-saving assistance, restore power, distribute food and water, removing debris, and begin rebuilding efforts. Governor DeSantis, the FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell, and other state and local officials will also provide the president with an operational briefing on the current response and recovery efforts. This morning, President Biden spoke with President Zelensky to underscore that the United States will never recognize Russia's purported annexation of Ukrainian territory and will continue to support Ukraine as it defends itself from Russian aggression. President Biden informed President Zelensky that the United States is providing a new $625 million security assistance package to Ukraine as they continue to defend their country from Russia's invasion. Together with our allies and partners, the United States has been delivering an unprecedented amount of weapons and equipment that Ukraine's forces are utilizing very efficiently, including to retake their territory that has been seized illegally by Russia. This security assistance package is the 22nd utilization of presidential drawdown authorities for Ukraine by the Biden administration, and we thank Congress for providing the additional authorities in the continuing resolution to make this possible. Today's package includes 4 HIMARS, 32 howitzers, 200 mine-resistant vehicles, and hundreds of thousands of rounds of artillery and mortar ammunition. Throughout this year, the United States has rallied the world to support the people of Ukraine as they defend their freedom and democracy against Russian aggression. As we are demonstrating again today, the United States will continue to provide Ukraine with key capabilities to meet their evolving battlefield requirements. Also this morning, as you may have seen, Micron announced that it will invest $20 billion this decade and up to $100 billion over the next 20 years in chips manufacturing in upstate New York. This announcement is just the latest historic investment in America, spurred by President Biden's economic plan and his commitment to rebuilding American manufacturing. Micron's multi-billion-dollar investment in American chip making will strengthen our nation's economy and create up to tens of thousands of good-paying jobs. In fact, Micron estimates they will pay an average salary of more than $100,000 per year. This is the latest in a series of historic business investments across the country, from New York to Ohio, Idaho, Arizona, North Carolina, and more. And they show the value in the president's work to rebuild our infrastructure and supply chains here at home so that we are creating jobs and bringing down prices over time by making more in America. Today marks 100 days since the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision, and President Biden and Vice President Harris are convening the second meeting of the President's Task Force on Reproductive Health Care Access. This morning, we released a report from Jen Klein, who directs the Office of Gender Policy Council, to the Vice President and Vice President on the onslaught of radical and dangerous actions from Republican officials since the Dobbs decisions. That includes, of course, Senator Graham's proposed national abortion ban, and in Arizona, a court decision to reinstate an extreme abortion ban that sends Arizona women back to 1864. As a result of these actions, millions of women are facing barriers to critical health care, and doctors and nurses are facing criminal penalties, including being thrown in jail for providing that essential health care. These extreme abortion bans also have consequences that extend beyond abortion, including reports of women being denied prescriptions at pharmacies to treat miscarriage and conditions like arthritis and cancer, and threats to contraception, including for college students as well. In today's task force meeting, the President and Vice President will hear directly from healthcare providers across the country about the impact that abortion bans are having on their work, and they will also be clear that the only way to fully protect a woman's right to choose is for Congress to act by codifying Roe into law. Finally, a note on junk fees. Last week, at the White House Competition Council meeting, President Biden put a spotlight on so-called junk fees. He explained that too often, companies impose hidden or surprise fees that prevent customers from seeing the full price of what they're buying and hit the most vulnerable Americans the hardest. The president highlighted progress that agencies have already made to address these fees, which will lower costs for American families by over $3 billion this year. And we're pleased to share that the Biden-Harris administration has now delivered even more results for consumers. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau issued a new order requiring Regions Bank to pay nearly $200 million for illegal surprise overdraft fees, including refunding $141 million to consumers, paying $50 million penalty, and stopping the illegal charges going forward. With that, colleague, you want to kick us off?
Sure, thank you. Has the White House given any more thought to a public health emergency regarding women's reproductive health, especially as the sort of effects of abortion bans extend beyond abortion to miscarriage and other aspects of women's reproductive health?
We don't have anything to announce at this time, but as you are aware, we have made this a priority, the president and the vice president, especially while we're seeing these extreme laws. We see that the national bans from Republicans, the president and vice president are doing everything in their power to protect women seeking abortion, their right to travel to states that provide care, their right to medication and contraception, and their right to patient privacy. Look, we've taken a range of actions to ensure access. As you know, we've taken some executive actions very early on, and today you'll hear from the president and vice president on what the additional actions that we will be taking. But we have been very clear. You heard that in the beginning of the briefing on what I just said. We are going to continue to encourage Congress to codify Roe. That is how we believe women's rights will be protected.
One more question on oil prices. They're up today on the expectation that OPEC Plus is going to cut production by an estimated 1 million barrels a day. Would a production cut endanger global supplies, and how does the president plan to respond?
So just to be very clear here on that piece, we're just not going to comment on any OPEC action until OPEC acts, as you all know. In any event, we will continue to take steps to protect American consumers. Our focus, and it's been very clear for the past several months, has been on taking every step to ensure markets are sufficiently supplied to meet demand for a growing global economy. And thanks to this president's efforts, and his historic actions that he has taken, energy prices have declined sharply from their highs, and American consumers are paying far less at the pump than they were several months ago. And it's because of the historic steps that this president has taken.
Thanks, Bree. Is there, given the 100 days out from the Dobbs ruling, is there a concern in this White House and the administration